Welcome everyone to the City of Quinte West Committee of Adjustment meeting. The committee is made up of 5 members. I'm a public member. My name is Harm Zelstra. I'll be the chair this evening. On my immediate left is public member Doug Phillips. On his left, public member Paul Lafferty. And on our far left is Councillor Jim Ellier. And with us tonight, participating virtually, is public member David Jesse. On my immediate right is Anne-Marie Cunningham, Committee of Adjustment Coordinator, and on her right is Kelly West, Manager of Planning Services. Because this is a hearing under the Planning Act, when the committee gets to the applications for consideration, each application will be brought up in the order listed on the agenda with an opportunity for public input given prior to discussion and consideration by the committee. If you wish to make a comment, please raise your hand to be recognized by the chair. Consent decisions made tonight will have last day of appeal of November the 30th, 2023, and minor variance decisions made tonight will have a last day of appeal of November the 29th, 2023. If anyone wishes to receive a copy of one of the notices of decision, please use the pad of paper provided by the sign-in sheet to indicate your name, mailing address or email address, and which decision you would like a copy of, and it will be sent to you. If anyone has not signed in on the sign-in sheet, please do so, as this is used for the minutes of the meeting. Could I have any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Hearing none. Approval of the agenda of November the 9th. Moved by Paul, second by Doug. All in favor? Carried, thank you. And approval of the minutes of October the 12th, 2023. Moved by Jim, seconded by Doug. Sorry, I see your hand popping up there, Dave. I was looking that way.
That's okay.
All in favor on that?
Okay.
Call all in favor.
All in favor? Yeah, sorry. First application is consent application B40-23S, John and Leslie Bertelink. The address is 451 Baptist Church Road, Part Lot 34, Concession 7 in Sydney Ward. And the purpose of the application is to sever a parcel of land which would create one new developed lot. The severed would have a frontage of 46 meters, a depth of 182 meters, an area of 1.99 hectares, and the retained would have a frontage of 49 meters with an irregular depth and area of 15.78 hectares. Any comments or concerns from the public regarding this application? Is Mr. Bertelink or Mrs. Bertelink here? Okay, all right, thank you. Yes.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to make note, one thing on the surveyor sketch for this application that we noted after the staff report was completed is there is an overhead utility line that crosses the retained lands in favor of the existing house on the severed lot. So I'm just hoping we can add a condition to relocate that utility line as a condition of consent. I did speak to Mr. Bertelink, and he's already consulted with Ontario Hydro about getting that done.
Okay. Any other comments or concerns from the public regarding this application? Any comments or concerns from the committee members? None? We have a mover?
I'll move it.
Moved by Jim, seconded by Doug. That application B40-23S by John and Leslie Bertelink to sever a parcel of land at 451 Baptist Church Road, Part Lot 34, Concession 7 in the former Township of Sydney is hereby approved subject to the following conditions. One, that a registered survey for the severed parcel be submitted to the city. Two, that a draft transfer for the severed parcel be submitted to the city. Three, that the tax account for the subject property be paid up to date. Four, that a zoning bylaw amendment be in effect for the severed and retained lands pursuant to the Planning Act. Five, that the existing overhead utility line crossing the retained lands to be severed to the severed lot be relocated to the satisfaction of the city. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next application is consent application B41-23S. Owners are Greg Anthony and Shirley Lorraine Davis. Keith Watson is the agent. The address is 1330 Frankfurt Road, Part Lot 23, Concession 5 in Sydney Ward. And the purpose of the application is to sever a parcel of land which would create one new vacant lot. The severed lot would have a frontage of 103.6 meters, a depth of 179 meters, and total area of 1.7 hectares. Retained would have a frontage of 283.8 meters, a depth of 1,636.9 meters, and total area of 61.9 hectares. Any comments or concerns from the public regarding this application? Do we have any questions or concerns for the agent regarding this application? Very straightforward. Have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Paul, seconded by,
I'll second.
oh, David, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Got to get used to having you here. Any comments or concerns, David?
No, I was trying to second it.
Okay. So did you second that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was moved and seconded that application B41-23S by Greg Anthony and Shirley Lorraine Davis, Keith Watson agent, to sever a parcel of land at 1330 Frankfurt Road, Part Lot 23, Concession 5 in the former Township of Sydney is hereby approved, subject to the following conditions. One, that a registered survey for the severed parcel be submitted to the city. Two, that a draft transfer for the severed parcel be submitted to the city. Three, that the tax account for the subject property be paid up to date. Four, that a zoning bylaw amendment be in effect for the severed lands pursuant to the Planning Act. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next application is consent application B42-23T. The owner is Andrea Rogeman, Keith Watson agent. The address is 180 Shooter Street. Address parts lot 33, 34, 35, and 37, Plan 24, and part lot 24, Plan 248. And the purpose of the application is to sever a parcel of land which would create one new vacant lot. The severed lot would have a frontage of 12 meters, a depth of 42.7 meters, and total area of 573.9 square meters. And the retained would have a frontage of 13.4 meters, a depth of 42.7 meters, and an area of 557.9 square meters. Any comments or concerns from the public regarding this application? Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ryan Robichaud. I'm the owner of 89 Film Street, which runs right next to the proposed new lot. The only comment I really have is looking at the sketch severage application. The new lot looks like it runs into about a 2-foot section of my property. The property survey that I got was from the city of Quinte when I moved in May of last year, or of this year, sorry. And I'm looking for just a bit of clarification or maybe another survey just to find out exactly what's mine and what's not mine. It just appears like it's about a 2-foot section behind the retaining wall off to the left side of the land. But
So you're-
on mine, it looks like it's cutting into a bit of
You're on lot 91 or
89.
89?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, lot number 89. Yeah, just on the proposed sketch, it looks like it runs into the retaining wall. Like it just runs parallel with the retaining wall, but with the survey that I have from the city, it just shows that I've got about a 2-foot section past that retaining wall. So I'm just looking for some kind of clarification of which one's correct, which one's not, or that's it.
Right here.
Would you like to see the survey?
Okay.
What's the date on your survey, sir?
So this was the one I got from the city. The date on the survey is 1986. I asked for a newer one, and they didn't have any available.
What was that, 1980? 86?
Yes. Yeah, when I asked for a newer one when I bought the house, this was the newest one they had on record. So it is a bit older, that's definitely for
Yeah.
sure.
Jennifer, do you have any clarification there?
To flip through here to see,
Oh, sorry.
I'm Jennifer, I'm from Watson Land Surveyors, I'm
hi, I'm
the
Ryan.
agent for this file. I just want to clarify where your question is, and I probably can answer it with what I have here.
So this is just the retaining wall that runs here, and on my survey, this is just the retaining wall here, and it looks like it just goes past just a little bit there.
And this is from 1986.
Yes.
If you want, we can go through this. I don't know if we want to do it right here, or so I can look through my file to see what he can, or
Well,
what he's.
What's your,
I guess the
this
question
is
would
actually
be,
a
is
sketch,
it-
right?
Yeah, this
Not
is
a-
a
not
sketch.
an
This is
official
not a legal
survey?
survey. So what I'm thinking is our sketches are done by a title search at the registry office, and then we pull the surveys for our property. So when the survey is actually done, that will be investigated further, but I certainly would be happy to go through what we have in our file to show you if there's something that can clarify it.
Yeah, that would be perfect. That's all I'm looking for this evening.
Okay,
Yeah, thank
great.
you.
I'm not sure if that affects the whole application moving forward. If you want to take a minute, we can do that now, or we can do it after the decision is made.
Pardon?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I could, I'm just curious, do you have concerns with the application for severance or just with the survey lines?
Just with the survey line, that's it.
Okay,
I have
so-
no concerns
Okay,
with-
so as long as the survey is clarified upon
Yeah, that's
an
it.
official
Nice and
survey?
easy.
Okay, you're good with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or concerns from the committee members? Yes, sir. Sorry?
Sorry. My name is Robert Warham. I'm at 173 Shooter Street, which is directly across the street from the proposed severance and the existing property. So I've been to several of these meetings and other planning committee meetings and council meetings to support projects that increase housing supply in Quinte West. So I'm quite happy to support this proposed severance in my own neighborhood. So I think that since the staff report recommends the approval, I would just say that other than adding units to an existing property, severances such as the one proposed represent the next practical and least intrusive step to gently increase density where services and infrastructure already exist. anything built on this newly created lot would still have to meet the setback restrictions of the property and the building code. I have noticed that there's a requirement for a drainage and grading plan. I'm wondering if that's like, to streamline the process in the future, if that's something that could be like moved to the, whenever the building is approved as part of that process, rather than this process here, and also making it by right the variance that's required for the existing property. So there's a variance required for setbacks that are already pre-existing, just to streamline the process in the future for future severances, that something like that would be pre-approved. I know that the planning department and the city is looking at pre-identifying lots like this one for development.
Yeah.
So it's just something to consider for streamlining that process and making it easier and less expensive for property owners.
Kelly, do you have a comment on that?
I apologize, I wasn't listening to all of what you said. They're looking at your name, but I think what you're referring to and what the city would have to develop would be a community, if I'm getting the name right, a community permitting system. No, there's two P's. It's a CPPS system where we would be able to do that multiple applications in one, like a rezoning or a site plan or minor variance, that kind of thing in one. We do have policy that would enable us to do that, but at this time, council hasn't directed staff to look at developing that program. Maybe something in the future that council could do, and you could bring that forward to council, because I know you've been to several council meetings as well.
Okay, thanks very much. Like I said, I just wanted to support this type of development in my own neighborhood. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other comments or concerns from committee members? Mover? Oh, sorry.
Hello, my name is Bruce Cowan. I live at 87 Film Street, so I'll be directly beside the property that's being severed. I was just wondering, obviously the purpose of the severing the property is for a house. Is there any details on what the building's going to be or where it's going to be located? Or we also have a large tree in our yard that I'm worried that if there's any digging or anything that could damage that tree.
I noticed that tree as well. It's pretty much right in
almost
what
right on
would
the
be an
property
envelope,
line,
building envelope. So,
Yeah.
Kelly, do you have any comments on that? Basically, the envelope is right where that tree is.
There's also a tree right in the, and it's not on my property, but it's right in the middle of the new property that you'd be severing too. There's a large tree there as well.
The city doesn't have a tree cutting bylaw, so wherever the tree is, if it's on the subject property or on your property, then it's sort of up to you whether you that landowner to take it down or keep it. And we don't have a tree replacement policy at this time as either. And in terms of the footprint of the building or anything, I'm not aware. Maybe Anne Marie, if you've gotten anything more specific. I think it's just a matter of severing the lot, and then somebody may buy it to design their house as they see fit within the required setbacks.
So as of now, there's no plans to build there, or?
Jennifer's shaking her head.
Oh.
It's actually going to come up.
Hi, there is no house plans per se right now, but the intent is certainly to build on it within the building envelope. So there's municipal setbacks that the new dwelling will be within. I mean, it's kind of a small lot, so there's not
Yeah.
a whole lot of room to move, but
Exactly, that's what I was
as for
worried
the
about.
exact location, we don't have that right now. The landowner doesn't know if she's gonna build on it or if she's gonna sell it for someone else to build on.
Oh, okay, so there's no plans as of yet to
No,
build there?
not that we're aware of, no.
Oh, okay. If there is plans to sell the lot, does it go up for public sale, or? I guess that's up to her, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be up to her, yeah,
Okay.
however she wants to do that.
So in the future, if somebody buys that house and wants to build on that property, what's my recourse is for, as far as the damage to the roots of the tree, if there's digging or whatever?
I think that would be for staff to answer if the tree is on your property,
It is, yeah.
but the roots are over on the other one. I'm not sure how that's handled.
I was gonna say, I think that would be a civil matter. It's not really the municipality.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Try this again? Any other comments from the public before we get to our committee members? This is a fairly small lot that is going to be severed, so like there's not a lot of room to move a house around to meet the setback requirements, but I did notice that lovely tree sitting right where probably the front line of the house would be, so I can't see, unless they really move it back, the house, then it wouldn't be in line with the streetscape, so it's hard to say. Any other comments or concerns from the committee? A mover and a seconder. Moved by Doug, seconded by Paul.
I'm sorry, moved and seconded by who? I didn't hear who moved and seconded.
Doug and Paul.
Doug and Paul, thank you.
That application B 42-23T by Andrea Rogeman to sever a parcel of land at 180 Shooter Street, part lots 33, 34, 35, 37, Plan 24, and part lot 24, Plan 248 in the former city of Trenton is hereby approved subject to the following conditions. One, that a registered survey for the severed parcel be submitted to the city. Two, that a draft transfer for the severed parcel be submitted to the city. Three, that the tax account for the subject property be paid up to date. Four, that a lot grading plan prepared by a professional engineer be submitted to the satisfaction of the city, and the applicant enter into an agreement with the city, written and registered on title by the city solicitor at the applicant's cost, addressing the owner's obligation to notify any purchaser of requirement to comply with the approved lot grading and drainage plan. 5, that a minor variance be in effect for the retained lands pursuant to the Planning Act. And 6, that the existing building straddling the property line be demolished with all the debris removed and all necessary permits obtained to the satisfaction of the city. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next application is a minor variance application, A9-23F. The address is 111 March Street, Part Lot 3, Plan 78. The owner is James Carlisle in Frankfurt Ward. The purpose of this application is to permit an extension to the legal non-conforming use for a west side yard addition to the kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom with a minimum side yard setback of 4.7 meters and an east side yard addition of an attached garage with a minimum side yard setback of 0.3 meters. Just to give you some background on this, purpose of the application is to permit the enlargement of a legal non-conforming use to the permit, the proposed additions to the existing single detached dwelling. The proponent is proposing to construct an addition in the westerly side yard with a setback of 4.7 meters, as well as another addition in the easterly side yard with a setback of 0.3 meters. The application indicates that the proposed addition to the west is for renovations to the kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom, while the proposed addition to the east would be an attached garage. Any comments or concerns from the public regarding this application?
Hello, I'm Jim Carlisle. Well, this has been a 3.5-year project. When I started this, I had black hair and I was 50 pounds lighter. So needless to say, it's gone on quite a while. The whole ordeal of this is when we started this project, I went to the city and I was told that, you know, you have to go through Trent Conservation because we're listed in the floodplain. That was done several years. COVID popped up. Needless to say, it was off and on that we were working on it. At the end of that part, I'd already had 5 surveys done. My end results with Trent Conservation was they granted me a permit, which, you know, they worked diligently on it and everything was well. I have all my papers. I go to the city and, well, needless to say, I had to get another survey done. And then what happens, you know, the city, y'all doing your part, sent letters out, and of course the letter from Trent Valley, Trent Conservation, said they do not recommend it. And on the date of this letter, I had my permit in my hand. You know, it was already permitted. There's 2 people that are listed on here that are Jed Snyder, Development Coordinator. He has no problems with it, but would like to see a drain plan for the side of the house. Well, I know he probably never saw the side of my house, but it's a steep angle like this. And it goes into a drainage flow on the side. The other one was Philip Lappin. He had no objections, but he said, yes, there could be an objection with the west side where it's so close to the property line. Okay, that property line is lost land. It's a old railroad track up above. It can never be bought. It can never be used. And I'm still building on my property. And the water flow will still take the normal pattern. In the letter, the one that came back to the panel, it said it was subject to flood proofing. That was never, it's not in my scope that they gave me. Flood proofing was never mentioned. In this letter, you know, it says that they had received a permit I'd received it 3 times. And I just feel that we should be awarded our permit to do our expansion. That's it.
Yes,
For now.
for now.
Would you care to see this?
No, we usually go out and take a look at the
Okay.
property, and I did look at it,
Okay.
and
And I had stakes up where where it was coming to. They were white wooden sticks.
yeah.
And but that's what it is.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Any other comments or concerns from the public regarding this application?
Mr. Chairman, I'm aware of Mr. Carlisle's, I sit in the board of directors, still do, of Lower Trent, but I was there when we had the board hearing to approve it. The staff did not recommend it at that time. Anyway, I'll start over again. Mr. Carlisle, I'm aware of your hearing before Lower Trent, and I sat on the board at that time, and I know it was a couple of years ago. I wasn't sure whether that might even lapse by now, but I'm not sure of the time frame. But I know when it was approved, there's usually conditions that has to be met when it's and I don't have a copy of it now. It might have had floodproofing in it. I'm not sure. Quite often it does. But anyway, I am aware of that, and the board approved it subject to certain conditions, and and after that was up to you to apply to the city. So I just wanted to make you aware. I am aware of that, and was there when that was dealt with.
And I do have the conditions.
Yeah.
If you'd care to see those.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't aware I turned it off. Like I said, the city planning department is recommending that this not be approved because it doesn't, it's not consistent with the provincial policy statement. If Kelly wants to elaborate on that somewhat, or if that is the only concern.
More in the planning analysis.
Yeah, I don't know what else I can elaborate on that's not already in the report. It is in the floodplain. We've zoned it as hazard lands in previous zoning bylaws. It's been in EP. So like we've known that that house was in that floodplain. So under our policies and that council have put in place, we don't like to have development in floodplains because it's a danger for safety for people and whatnot. There was an existing house there that had a fire and it got rebuilt. Things that were existing, we do have provisions in our policies that do allow that, but generally we don't like to expand those uses, and we feel that doing the additions and that will strengthen the use and perpetuate the use there. And then to comment on Public Works, comment for the drainage, the city, I think it's the city that owns that, or Lower Trent owns that rail trail. It's an important recreational feature, so we just want to say that if committee does feel like they can support this application, that drainage that's flowing off of there as surfaces are hardened, I'm getting away from the mic, sorry, Dave. Surfaces are hardened, then there's more runoff, there's more water going down into that swale that goes right behind, right in between their property and the trail. So we just don't want any issues to wash out that trail or damage that trail. And Anne Marie's just written me a note that said that Public Works did attend the site.
More than once.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I just indicated that Jed from Public Works did go to the site more than
Yeah.
one time.
Yeah. Any comments from?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we support it. It is legal non-conforming. When we looked at it at the board out there, being the house is there and it has been flood-proofed, that the addition wasn't going to cause any more, I guess, disruption, other than if, I guess, the final grades have to be made sure they conform to, that aren't going to cause any other problems to the abutting properties. So. And I'm sure there'll be some type of engineering or grades taken to address that. The other thing is there's other houses certainly in that area that's in that so-called Cold Creek floodplain. So if this wasn't here, I couldn't support it, but it is legal non-conforming and it was redeveloped. So I will move, put it on the floor.
Okay. Any other comments from the other members?
I was just questioning what the floodproofing entailed for the construction.
Kelly, what would the floodproofing entail? Construction?
That's the first time we heard floodproofing when I got the letter from the city.
I know it was discussed when the committee dealt with it, but I, like I said, I have not seen the, in a couple of years now since we've seen it. Sure.
So through you, Mr. Chair, and drawing on my Lower Trent experience way back when, floodproofing usually deals with openings in the doorways and windows have to be above that flood elevation plus another little bit, as well as any electrical outlets and things like that. They have to be above
So it's all
that
in
flood.
the building code.
Yeah, it's kind of the way that the building is constructed.
It could be done, yeah.
And some of them, I think you can't have a basement. It's got to be poured on slab and stuff like that, but.
Which is why, Mr. Carla, I think on your one side of your addition, they're going to be built on stilts so that there's nothing underneath it. And if there is floodwaters, then it could flow right underneath the building.
Originally, this started there, I was gonna do a basement on the other side. And we pulled that off because of that reason. That side is close to a swell, a big area. I've never had water sit. The only time I've had water sitting in that side is when the water main breaks on my street. And then my sump pump runs. That's the only time I've had a sump pump run is when the water main busts. But there's.
I think this item 4 here, it doesn't say floodproofing, but it says any fill placed in the floodplain on the property, i.e. below the 111.03 meters flood contours to be limited to that strictly required to accommodate the elevations noted in mitigation measures 1 and 2 of this letter, and then frost protection and proper drainage around the structure. No fill placement is supported beyond the building footprint. So I think it's the back grading and everything like that, as Kelly says, so don't run back in the house or whatever.
Right, and with that, on that side, like, you know, it is this high above where the water would be. On the, where the garage is. And the other side, of course, like you mentioned, is on stilts. And, but the driveway side it's this much higher. And it would cut off just like that.
Okay. We have a mover to accept. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Paul.
I did do a wording for you. It goes from
Okay.
there. It includes the condition for the lot grading.
Pardon?
It includes the condition for the lot grading.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that application A9-23F by James Carlisle at 111 March Street, Part Lot 3, Plan 78, in the former village of Frankfurt to permit an extension to the legal non-conforming use for a west side yard addition to the kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom with a minimum side yard setback of 4.7 meters and an east side yard addition of an attached garage with a minimum side yard setback of 0.3 meters is hereby approved subject to the following conditions. That a lot grading and drainage plan prepared by a professional engineer be submitted to the satisfaction of the city and the applicant enter into an agreement with the city, written and registered on title by the city solicitor at the applicant's cost, addressing the owner's obligation to notify any purchaser of the requirement to comply with the approved lot grading and drainage plan. All in favor? David?
No, I'm not.
Not in favor?
No.
Okay. Motion is carried. Any other business to come before this committee? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn. Moved by Jim, seconded by Doug. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.